Hey there, Prairie Plant Girl here. Well, I harvested my first harvest of beautiful young beets this morning, and I was wondering what I should use them for, and I thought I wanted to try something different. We're having hamburgers for supper tonight, so something that would go nicely with hamburgers would be great. And I thought, I was just scrolling through recipes and I came across one that was for a cabbage beet salad. And I thought that's perfect because I have cabbage in my fridge. So this recipe I thought I would share with you. We'll try it out together and see what we think. I have all the ingredients assembled. Now I'm doing a couple of substitutions on the recipe that I found because that's just what I have on hand here. So it calls for red cabbage and I'm just using some green cabbage that I'd harvested last week and is still in my fridge. So I thought I'd use it up, or another portion of it, I guess, up. And it also calls for caraway seeds, which I don't seem to have in my cupboard right now. So I grabbed some fennel seeds. I think that'll be a pretty good substitution for the caraway. Otherwise, I'm following the recipe, but I'm cutting it in half because I suspect it'll just be me that really wants to eat it, not my husband and my son, which is who's going to be here for supper tonight. So I will try to get a link in the description down below the video if you want to see the full recipe as I found it. And otherwise you can just follow along and see how I do this. So like I said, I have all the ingredients set up here. You're going to need just a few basic ingredients. Well, a couple might be not in your cupboard, but I think most people have most of this in their cupboard. So you're going to need some cabbage and beets. Like I said, it calls for a red cabbage and you just need a small amount. So if you've had a recipe and you just need a little bit, you just have a little bit left over, it's a great recipe for that. You're just going to get a little bit of cabbage shredded up and some raw beets. You're just going to need them peeled. And then you need red wine vinegar, olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. Like I said, there's supposed to be caraway seeds. I'm using fennel and sugar. And that's everything. Yeah, I was thinking there must be more than that. So pretty basic recipe. So I have a few things prepped. Let's get the rest going so that we can get this thrown together. So like I said, I'm having the recipe. So I have 1 cup of shredded cabbage here. Might be a little more than 1 cup, but it'll be fine. And then I need to use a box grater to grate my peeled beets. So it said to have about 8 ounces of peeled beets. I'm using about 4, and I have my box grater set up here. So I'll just go, I left the tops on hoping that I would get a little less beet juice on me that way. It shouldn't take long to grate up a couple small beets here. Beets are so healthy and so is cabbage. It's both so good for you. So I'm really looking forward to this. That worked all right. I suspect this bowl is way more than I need, but it'll make it easier to kind of mix it all up in the end. Oh, and I just realized there's something I should have been doing while I was grating these beets here. So you're supposed to toast the caraway seeds. So I'm just gonna sprinkle them in a pan here and put them over medium heat on my stove. And I'll just swirl them once in a while I'm doing this. Should take a minute or two. So they're going over there. And I'll keep grating this beet here. When you're toasting seeds and nuts and things, you can usually just use your nose a little bit to know when you're getting to that perfect toastedness without burning. Just put them over medium heat in the pan and move them around once in a while. And let your nose let you know when they're nice and fragrant and finished. There. The only drawback to beets is they're messy. That's why I also grow golden beets, because they're a little less messy to work with. But today we have the red ones. So that's the beets in there. And then you just mix the cabbage in with them. So the idea of the red cabbage, I think, is just because you would have that all red coloring. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference in the flavor or the texture. So I think this kind of festive looking now. All right, so that's ready, and we just need to get the dressing going. So here's the fennel seeds. I'm just going to give them a little shake around. Let them keep heating up here. Oh, those are looking good now. So now you just need, because I'm having it, you need 1 tablespoon each of red wine vinegar and olive oil. And then a 1/4 teaspoon, not sure why you do this on the heat, it seems pointless. 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. And then you're just supposed to get it so the sugar melts. Well, that's going to take 0 to do that. So there we go. I turned my stove off. And then you're supposed to take it just like this. It doesn't say to cool it or anything. And pour it over the cabbage and beets. And then you're just supposed to season with some salt and pepper. I'm thinking that won't take much. A little dab of that, sprinkle of that, mix it all together. Now I did realize as I was reading the recipe again while I was doing the dressing that you're supposed to have some green onions to go on there. So I'm gonna go out to the garden and grab a couple real quick. Okay, so I went out and grabbed just a couple little green onions out of the garden. It says to use some chives. I don't have chives, I don't grow chives. So, and it said 2 tablespoons and they're just supposed to go over top. So I'm just gonna kind of cut these up real quick here. I'm gonna put the white parts in. But if it's chives you're after, you probably really just want the greens. It said 2 tablespoons, so I probably have about 1 tablespoon there, which is perfect if I'm halving the recipe. Give those a dump in there. Now, bowl is way too big. So to get something smaller, that's probably more appropriate. All right, so let's give this a little try. Supper's not for a while yet, but we want to know what it tastes like, right? Get a little bit of everything. Let's get some of the fennel, some of the beets. I think there's some onion in there, some cabbage. It's tasty. I personally think it needs a little bit more of the vinegar and maybe a pinch more sugar. But there really isn't much sugar in this. There was only a 1/4 teaspoon in the full recipe, so I have 1/8 of a teaspoon in there. And a little more salt and pepper, actually. I think it just needs a little bit more on the seasonings. So other than that, it's a good recipe. You just need to season it the way you like it. So yeah, I'd say it's one to give a try and just have something that's maybe a little bit different than you're used to eating your beets. Raw beets are delicious. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming along in the kitchen with me today. And we'll see you next time. Bye.